Hello again, welcome back to High Performance Pilot, a show dedicated to improving our performance as aviation professionals. I'll be using the core competency matrix and the behaviours contained within it, the skills, the knowledge and the attitudes. Coming up today, offers and accepts assistance, delegates when necessary and asks for help when appropriate. A workload management behaviour. In our profession, we face numerous tasks and responsibilities before, during and after a flight. For us to manage them, we need to be proficient in both our attitude towards leadership and teamwork and our communication skills. If we are, then the end result will be effective workload management and therefore a high degree of situational awareness, both personally and for other crew members. So I think the first thing we need to understand is what this behaviour is. Whilst it's a workload management competency, it is fundamentally about a crew's relative situational awareness levels and their appreciation of that, high or low. At its core, it reflects our ability to recognise our own limits and that of our colleagues. Let's break down the terms of the behaviour of offers and accepts assistance, delegates when necessary, and asks for help when appropriate. First off, offering assistance. This aspect of the behaviour involves understanding when someone's bucket is filling up and being proactive in extending help before it does. Second, accepting assistance. Conversely, this means being open to receiving help from others when needed and understanding that your bucket is filling up. Next, delegating when necessary. Effective delegation is a crucial component of workload management. It involves entrusting tasks to others who are better suited or available to handle them, thus freeing up mental resources to focus on high-priority responsibilities. Delegation is a sign of good leadership and effective teamwork. And finally, asking for help when appropriate. This is a positive attitude trait and a sign of enhanced situational awareness. It shows you understand your bucket is filling up or will be full if you don't get help. It demonstrates an understanding of your limits and a willingness to communicate this to others. So now we know what it is, let's take a look at why we need to be proficient at it. We live in a world of complex operations, one that is dynamic, full of problems that have to be solved, decisions that have to be made, and all whilst operating complex systems in busy airspace. As an individual, we can't expect to have complete mastery over every aspect of a flight. After all, this is why most of us operate in a two-crew environment. Delegation and assistance represents effective workload management and contributes to safe operation. Maintaining situational awareness. Proficiency in this behaviour gives us the best chance of understanding the environment around us and where we'll be in the future. If we are to maintain this, we must delegate, offer and accept assistance, and finally request help. Error reduction. By sharing the workload and asking for help when appropriate, we reduce the likelihood of becoming overloaded and reducing the safety of the flight. And finally, team development. Delegating, accepting and asking for assistance, requesting help all develop a positive team dynamic. It builds trust and cohesion between team members and fosters the belief that the team is better than the sum of its parts. Being proficient demonstrates effective leadership and followership and a mature attitude. You're listening to High Performance Pilot, the show dedicated to improving our performance as pilots. I've been discussing offers and accepts assistance, delegates when necessary, and asks for help when appropriate. and now I'll get into the all-important how we become proficient. First off, we need to accept that we might not be the best person to understand if our bucket is nearly full. If someone offers help, they will have made an assessment of our level of situational awareness and come to the conclusion that we need it. It requires us to understand that and the humility to accept it. It's a no-brainer. If offered help, take it. How often do we get lost in our own bubble, concentrating on our responsibilities, our own workload? Let's practice bursting this bubble by considering the awareness state of our colleagues. The more we do this, the larger our bubble will become, and the more likely we will be to offer assistance when required. Assess your own workload and ask for help. Learn the signs that indicate you are approaching your limit. It happens to us all, and mature pilots will understand when they need help. Ask for and give feedback following a flight, particularly with regard to periods of high workload. Work out how you could have increased your spare capacity during these periods. And now to the threats. Effective operation requires us to understand the potential threats and errors and so allow us to avoid or mitigate them. Here are some of the threats associated with lack of proficiency in, offers and accepts assistance, delegates when necessary, and asks for help when appropriate. Loss of situational awareness. If crew do not assist each other and delegate, they are not acting as a team. Workload will increase, spare capacity will decrease, and the result will be reduced safety levels. Overloaded crew members. If workload is not shared, the result may be a completely overloaded crew member, with an associated total breakdown in situational awareness. A negative team dynamic. By not accepting or offering assistance with no delegation, the team dynamic becomes negative. Poor morale, lack of trust, and a breakdown in cohesion may result. Here's a couple of examples of this behaviour. And first off, asking for help whilst managing a late change in runway. In this instance, you need to ask your colleague to reprogram the flight management computer and select the required navigational aids and courses. Your capacity should be directed to managing the aircraft's flight path and energy. This is also a demonstration of prioritization, another workload management behavior. Next, a fundamental example of delegation, and that is managing a non-normal event. The job of the pilot in command is to manage that event, and the best way to do that is to delegate the physical act of flying to your colleague. And now to the key takeaways. This is a workload management competency, but the goal is maintaining effective situational awareness. To be effective at this behaviour, you need to understand not only your awareness state, but also that of your colleagues. Understand that you might not be the best person to recognise your need for assistance. Seeking and offering assistance and delegating is a sign of maturity and professionalism. Loss of situational awareness and a poor team dynamic are threats associated with the lack of proficiency in this behaviour. So there you have it. Offers and accepts assistance, delegates when necessary, and asks for help when appropriate. A behaviour from the competency of workload management. I hope you found it useful, that you've heard something you can put into practice the next time you operate. High Performance Pilot has an ultimate aim: to stimulate interest in the core competencies and inspire you to seek them out and apply them to further improve your effectiveness as a pilot. Each week, one behaviour from one competency. We'll break it down, provide tips and advice on how to make it a strength in your operation. Join me next week.